Hi folks, Rodney back again with Rodney's Northwest Riding Reviews. Today I'm going to do a quick walk around video on this 2023 Tundra Crewmax Limited model. It does have the TRD off-road package, and I'll kind of run through the vehicle, kind of give you a breakdown on some of the equipment, and talk about some updates as well. One of the things I want to mention, if you guys have a vehicle on the way, so let's say for instance you put an order in and you've got a VIN number where the vehicle's either been built or in transit, what have you, feel free to send that VIN number my way and I'll be more than happy to give you an update on it. One thing to keep in mind is that if it has not been built yet and they have issued like a temporary VIN number, if you send me the VIN number and the vehicle, you know, let me back up for a moment. If they give you a VIN number and it has a temporary VIN number, and the way you'll know that is in the last 5 digits of the VIN, it will have a letter instead of just numbers. But let's say for instance the vehicle has been built, well then the VIN number would have been changed to your permanent VIN number. So if that's the case, be sure that you send me the proper VIN number so that I can check the status for you. If you have the temporary VIN and the vehicle's already been built where the VIN number's been changed, I won't be able to pull any information up. So enough of that. I did want to kind of give you a real quick update as well. Toyota has told us that it's going to be probably another year before we see any significant changes as far as the amount of inventory that we get. So that means that there's still probably going to be a long wait. What I've noticed in our region is that they're sending almost all of the 6.5 foot beds when we're talking Crewmax. We're getting just a couple allocations on the 5.5 foot bed. So if you're waiting on a 5.5 foot bed, that could be a situation that could cause some delay as well. So back to the vehicle here. So as I mentioned, this is a 2023 Tundra Crewmax Limited. Does have the TRD off-road package. So when you get anything less than, so let's say for instance, if you get an SR5 or an SR5 premium package and it has the TRD off-road, it will have the 18-inch tires and wheels instead of these 20-inch that comes on the Limited and above. This one does have the Predator tube steps, or cab steps rather. This one does have the panorama view monitor. And so with the panorama view monitor, you're gonna have 6 cameras. So you got one in the front, one underneath both the side view mirrors, you got one on the tailgate, and you got 2 in the back of the cab that I'll point out for you. This one does have the upgraded high definition LED headlamps. You got your sequential turn signals, parking sensors, both front and rear. You got your LED fog lights. Most of the times I will say that I do not like the chrome on the vehicle. This pertains to the limited models. And I still kind of hold true to that. I would say that on the darker colors, I think the trim actually doesn't look too bad. But like for instance, if it was on a white or a silver color, you know, I'd much rather have it blacked out when it has the TRD off-road wheels. So just my thoughts. Okay, I talked about the cameras on the back of the cab. So you've got 2 cameras on the back of the cab. One shines down into the bed. The other one shines straight back at a trailer if you had one connected. And it obviously makes it easy for you to make sure that your cargo is tied down or secured properly. And then, you know, you can see if you have a trailer back there, if you have anything on there, you can make sure that it's also secured properly. When you're backing up, you have a light that comes on here, so it makes it easy to see, you know, down when you're connecting to your trailer, but there's your backup camera as well. 4-pin, 7-pin wiring harness. You got the LED backup lights there, parking sensors that we talked about. On the Limited and above, they come standard with the button push, so that way you can open up the tailgate. Composite bed. Now this one does have a spray-on bed liner on top of the composite. That is actually pretty nice. Makes it a little less slip resistant. What I've done in mine is I didn't have the spray-on bed liner in it, but I did get the rubber mat that Toyota offers as an accessory, and that works great. And it prevents things from sliding around, probably better than the slip-on, or that should say that than spray-on bed liner does. I've shown this in the past, but you do have your Bilstein shocks there. You've got your coil springs. Helps with the ride. Definitely Makes it a little smoother on just normal imperfections in the road. You don't feel quite the harshness. Now I will say that this, if you hit a pothole, you'll definitely feel it. The frame is a little more rigid, and that's probably what adds to that. But the benefit is that with that more rigid frame, it definitely handles like trailers, prevents sway a lot better. And you'll notice that when you pass like a truck or something on the highway, it doesn't push you around near as much as the older generation did. You got your blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert. Now this is something that's interesting, and I noticed this when I got in the vehicle. I've only seen this happen twice, but the vehicle came from the factory and it had the wrong language in there. And so I'm gonna start it up so you can see. So as you can see there, it's in Spanish. And so I had a situation when I first got in the truck today, this was reading in English, this was in Spanish here. Now you can go two different places to correct that. You can go to your vehicle settings. This is for your infotainment system. And then you can go to general settings. And I apologize, I can't read it from here, so I'm going to go about it a different way. But I could go in there and change the language, which if I remember right, it's right here. Yes. So I just changed the language in that one, and it automatically changed this one here. But like I said, when I first got in the vehicle, this one was reading in English, this one was in Spanish. Well, the second way that you can go and fix that is go down to vehicle settings, open it up, and then of course you hit your language, and then this one, like I said, did change just here just a second ago. Changed this one to English as well, but you could go back and change the language there back to Spanish, and then of course that one's reading in Spanish again too. So if I go back and change it again, back in English, and it changed the stereo this time as well. So like I said, I've only seen two situations where they read two different languages, but that's how you fix it. All right, inside the vehicle, this is going to have Safety Sense 2.5. So with it, you're going to get lane departure, you're going to get your adaptive cruise control, you have your auto dimming headlamps, you're going to have the pre-collision system, which also has pedestrian low light detection. And then you're going to have one further, it's called lane centering. So if I go into my lane departure here, let's turn it off, now it's back on. Now, clear that. All right, so LTA up at the top stands for Lane Trace Assist. So when that feature is turned on, you can open up the internal menu by pushing your OK button and holding it. So you see where it says Lane Center. So I can turn Lane Center on. The benefit is that on lane centering, when you're out on the highway, if you get close to the white line, obviously if you cross over the line, you can set it up, excuse me, set it up where either it will give you an audible alert, or you can see right now the alert down below is on a vibrate mode on the steering wheel. But anyway, that will help you stay centered in the lane, and you can turn that feature on or off. PCS is your pre-collision system, so that's the one where if you're driving through town, somebody stops out in front of you, it does have the ability to take over and stop the vehicle if it looks like you haven't realized that somebody stopped ahead of you. Your blind spot monitoring, that's what it looks like when somebody's in your blind spot. Now, on blind spot monitoring, there's no audible alert, but it will if somebody's in your blind spot. Once you're going down the freeway, if you put your turn signal on, your mirrors will start flashing to let you know that somebody's there. Now, if we go down a couple more to RCTA, which stands for Rear Cross Traffic Alert, in that situation, let's say you're parked at a grocery store, you go to back up, turn this off for a second. You go to back up, it picks up that cross traffic that you can't see a lot of times because vehicles are blocking your view. But in that situation, it will not only blink in the mirror, but it will also give you an audible alert so you can hear it. You got your parking sensors just down below the BSM, and then of course I've already explained the rear cross traffic alert. RSA stands for road sign assistance. So your camera that's up here in this black box, it can read 3 different signs. It'll read speed limit signs, caution signs, and stop signs. You'll see that it shows the speed limit up there, and it picked that up as I was driving around the block. Trailer settings, you can set for multiple trailers. It will ask you if it's a single axle or a double axle trailer. It will ask for trailer weight, and then it will give you the option to kind of set the gain. Well, the gain is for your brake controller, which is right here. But once you set that and you connect to your trailer, it recognizes that there is a trailer connected. Once you plug it in, it may ask you to pick which trailer that you've selected if you have multiple trailers already set up in there. You can do a trailer light check if you wanted to, and then of course you can do vehicle settings where you can set for multiple drivers if you wanted. Now, one of the things that's come up is you know, people have asked, okay, well, you come standard with Remote Connect. So with Remote Connect, you can set up a primary driver, and then you can set up a guest driver. The one thing or issue that I've run into is a lot of people say, well, okay, so he's going to have a remote and I'm going to have a remote, so do we both get access to that? And unfortunately not. You only get access to the Remote Connect for the primary driver. Now, obviously, if you use that same key fob, then you know, you'll still have access to do everything that you wanted and still have the same settings. But unless you use the same exact, and I'm going to back up because I don't think that works, we've already tried that, it does not enable you to use multiple phones. So like, for instance, if he has a smartphone, she has a smartphone, you can't download the same application and get the same functions because it recognizes the phone number as well. So any further questions on that, feel free to send me a comment. I'll be more than happy to go more in depth and explain properly. Climate control. So you can separate the temperature on both sides of the vehicle. I'm just trying to turn the fan speed down a little bit here. If you're the only one in the vehicle, you can hit the sync button, and that locks the temperature into both sides, and then whatever you change changes both sides as well. You got your heated and cooled seats. 3 settings on that. Not sure where you live at, but you know, here in Oregon, yes, it does get hot in the summertime, but you'd be surprised how often I actually run my heated seats. Obviously not just in the winter, but in the summertime too. Put it on low, and it just kind of helps the body relax, so those long drives are not quite as stressful and not as fatiguing on the body. You do have heated mirrors. They are tied in with your rear window defroster. On the Crewmax, turn this back off. On the Crewmax, that rear window does go all the way down, and you have a button right up here for it. Definitely a cool feature, and when it's open and you have your windows open, man, it really makes it open inside the cabin here, and it almost seems like you're right in a convertible, especially if you have the panoramic sunroof. On the rear view mirror, it does have a digital camera. So we talked about the 2 cameras on the back of the cab, and one of those operates the digital rear view mirror as well. The reason they have that, let's say that you have, you know, people sitting in the back seat, or you have like suitcases or luggage or something, and somehow it blocks your view up above, you can still use the camera on the back of the cab that will enable you to see out the back still. You do have your home link, so you can program either garage door opener or electric gate. And then this one on this side is actually settings for the digital rear view mirror. You do have an SOS button. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, basically what the SOS button does, let's say hypothetically you get into an accident and you need some emergency help, you can always hit the SOS button. If you get into an accident and it triggers the airbags to deploy, well, in that situation, it will send a signal to Toyota, which in return will try to contact you through the vehicle system. When I say system, I'm referring to the speaker system, and then the microphone, which is up above, will pick up your voice. But if you don't respond back to them within a certain period of time, they will send an ambulance to your location. You do have map reading lights on both the driver and passenger side. At nighttime, you have a little light here that shines right down on the dash. It's not very bright, but it does make it easier to see. Now, that is one thing that some people have complained about, is they say that the lighting in nighttime is not the greatest in the cab, and I will agree with that. It probably would have helped had they put another light here, but they just have the one in the back, and then they have the lights up here. So, all right, you do have vanity mirrors with adjustable visors. Little slide. Down below, you have your backup assist or trailer assist. And so basically what that does is that once you program in your trailer, it will ask you to make some turns, and then it's basically what it's doing is measuring the size of the trailer. And after you go through the settings, then you can go on ahead and hit the backup assist. Basically, you take your hands off the steering wheel. You do have to brake and throttle that you're operating, but it will actually back up in a straight line for you. Panorama view monitor. You can go through here and change the color of the vehicle. So in this case, this one is black. That looks more gray, but that actually is the black setting for it. And then you can adjust where you see. So this is a little lower view here, and then of course, like I said, you have the higher view. They have a setting where you can go ahead and say, for instance, when you put it in drive, now this, it's not set up that way right now, but like if I put it in reverse and I hit the auto setting, so now when I take off and drive, you got your front view, you got your side view. This makes it great. So when you're pulling into a parking space, you can see the lines on both sides. Oops, I just moved that. You can see the lines on both sides of the vehicle as you pull in. You can see how close you are to the curb or to a wall. And same thing with this one here. You have several different settings, so you can look at a back view when you're going down the highway or backing up to your trailer. You can see what's in the cargo, or in the bed rather. And then depending on the camera that you have settings on, you'll have different guides. So for instance, when you're in four-wheel drive, you'll have different options that will enable you to see the ground and the terrain around you as well. Okay, traction control. This is your rear locking axle. Now that's only to be used when you're in four-wheel drive low. One thing about shifting into four-wheel drive, I've had some people call and say, hey, I'm having a hard time getting it into four-wheel drive low. And so we kind of walk them through the sequence. Well, the way Toyotas are designed, they want you to put it in 4 high first and then go into 4 low. So just make sure that 4 high engages, and then you should be able to get it into 4 low with no problem. You do have the tow haul feature. So tow haul feature basically is designed, anything over 3,500 pounds, you want to put it in tow haul. Some of the vehicles, I think the TRD Pro model, and I forget, there's another one too. I don't remember the TRD Off-Road has it, but some of them have a tow haul plus. So it's, you know, if you're exceeding 5,000 pounds, you may want to use tow haul plus. MTS stands for multi-terrain select. So when you're using your crawl control or your downhill assist, you can actually dictate what type of terrain that you're going to be on. So it tells you that you need to go ahead and go from two-wheel drive high to shift it into four-wheel drive, and then you could use your multi-terrain select. Now, multi-terrain select or crawl control does not work in high range. And I had a person that initially said that yes, it does. Well, unfortunately it doesn't, because I tried it. But you can use your downhill assist in high range. So basically what downhill assist does is it uses your analog braking system, and it enables the vehicle to come down either like a steep hill or something that's snow or ice covered, maybe even gravel, and basically will come down at a speed that it can control without locking up the brakes. But like I said, it does use the analog braking system on each individual wheel. In crawl control, like I said, you do have to be in low, but once you engage crawl control, then you use the dial to actually set the speed. And if you haven't seen one of my previous videos, you may want to jump over to the jump over to the channel there and then check out the crawl control video that I've made. It's actually pretty incredible. It does have an electronic emergency brake, so as soon as you put it in park, it automatically sets the brake. As soon as you take it out of park, it automatically releases the brake. You do have a hold. Some people call it hill start assist. So basically, if you pull up to a stoplight, you can go on ahead and set the brake on there. Once you're ready to take off, all you need to do is step on the gas and automatically releases the brake. On this side, you got your button here for the dome lights, so you can set it where either when the doors open, the lights will come on in the back of the cab, or you can turn it on or completely turn it off if you like. We talked about auto dimming headlamps. This is your automatic stop-start feature. It is foot activated based on your brake pressure, and so if you don't want that feature to come on, very rarely does that come on, and I will explain a little further in that. But if you want to completely turn that feature off, you can turn this button off. You'll see it light up on the dash. Unfortunately, it will stay lit. Excuse me, will stay lit up. But then the default, so every time you shut the vehicle off, it will automatically go back to the regular on position, and then you would have to turn it off again. This dims your panel lights. This is your odometer and trip, and then your parking sensors. So these are for the sonar dots that are on the back. I've mentioned this in previous videos. If you have a bike rack and you put the bike rack on there when your bikes are on there, when you put it in reverse, unless you turn that feature off, it's going to recognize that there's an obstacle there. And basically it thinks that you're going to run into something, and it will completely lock up the brakes. And so it will definitely be startling when it happens. So just remember to turn that feature off. Pretty much covered everything here. You have additional charge ports there. So you do have a slide. It's easy access getting in here, or you got a little button here that opens it up. These just happen to be tie downs for the bed back there. Little coin change holder there. So this is a non-hybrid model. You do have storage space underneath the seats. On that side over there is your jack and your handle. On this side over here, no, I do apologize. Your jack and your handle is actually behind the seat, and then you just have storage on both sides. But then you also have a little bit of storage on one of the sides. This one does have the upgraded JBL audio system, so you're going to have a subwoofer behind the rear seat back there too. All right, I think that's kind of a pretty basic rundown. If you're thinking about getting the upgraded JBL audio system, I have it in my Tundra. I actually love it. I had the JBL audio system in my Tacoma. I think it sounds better in the Tundra. Not only do you have more speakers, but you also get surround sound with it. So that's just personal preference, but like I said, I really do like that feature. So thanks again for taking the time to watch. If you have any questions, any comments, feel free to send them my way. Take the time to like and subscribe. I try to get videos out on a weekly basis. I'm trying to give you new information, trying to give you inventory updates, and answer some basic questions. So like I said, thanks again, and